What's good, family? Smash the like button, subscribe, and lick off the bell. Wow, your man the YB is gassed right now. I gotta say a big congratulations to Mr. Anthony Yarde and his whole team. Because listen, I give credit where credit's due. Yeah. Now I roasted them when they lost to Kovalev, because for me, when I believe in people, I get frustrated. Yeah, and I believe Yarde should have smoked Kovalev, truth be known. I think Yarde gave Kovalev way too much respect, in a way similar to how AJ gave, obviously he gave Usyk way too much respect, but even he gave Klitschko way too much respect. Them first 4 rounds, you wasted 4 rounds of cardio for nothing. You should have gone in there, elbows nicely tucked in, and got on your job. Yeah, be you, double down on yourself. This whole boxing rubbish is rubbish, and you've just proven that tonight, because guess what? You went in there playing all that Floyd Mayweather goofy ass, and you went 50-50 life and death with Lyndon, a man who can't lace your boots. That's a fact. We know that now. He couldn't hold the power. Too big, too strong. Carl Froch. Yeah? Simple as that. That's what happens when you believe in yourself. When God gives you gifts, he punishes those who don't make the most out of them. Yeah, when you're built like Africanulese and you go in there and you're flapping, you deserve to get your wig pushed back. 100%. So with that in mind, like I said, when you've been given gifts and you go in there trying to play around on some fruity style Mayweather thing, you lose. When you go in there and use what you were gifted with, like Yarde did do tonight, Yarde went straight in there on his job. Lyndon couldn't hold the shots. Yeah? Pat talking all that road stuff. Pat, where was the roads at? Your man was, yeah? Your man didn't what no more. He didn't. He quit, truth be known. Now, to be fair, Yarde, he knocked the fight out of him, but still. Yeah? Your man didn't want no more. Not even a bit more did he want. And the reason I'm gassed is because, guess what? Unlike some people, yeah, your man the YB, when he believes, he rolls the dice. And you best believe, this is the first dub your man the YB has caught in a long while. He been down bad right now. And that's why I'm giving a big congratulations to Team Yard, because you, man, have got the YB back on winning ways when it comes to William Hills. And to be honest with you, I'm disappointed with myself because I put on a quick wanna on this one. The odds were amazing, truth be known. Yeah, I wanna give you 170 back, so it's almost best part of 2 to 1, to be honest. But either way, the point is, I was disappointed because of my recent losses, because of fannies like Anthony Johnson and Sean Porter. That had my confidence low. That had me feeling like I'm missing something here. But this fight here proved to me I know what I'm doing. The difference is, the reason I've been losing recently isn't because my picks are bad. It's because, guess what? These goofy, funny style fighters ain't turning up to win. They're turning up to roll over and for a check. But guess what? What do we know? What happens when the people YB picks actually turn up and give it a good go? Yeah, they win in devastating fashion. What do you man think would have happened if Anthony Johnson had gone in there with Usyk with this kind of spite? I'm sorry, yeah, all you funny style dudes who suck Usyk off, I don't believe it. Because guess what, your man Usyk weren't doing nothing with Chisora, old ass Chisora, yeah? He was shook running around all night. But difference is, Chisora came to fight. He didn't come to flap around. Yeah, you big scary ass Mr. Johnson. Yeah, and don't worry, I'm going to make some videos this week. Anthony Yarde shows Mr. Anthony Johnson how to fight. What a fighter is. What a real throwback fighter is. Yeah? And to be fair, this was equally a rematch. Meaning that Anthony Yarde went in there with this dude and came back to get his get back. So let me tell you right now, Mr. Johnson, this is how you best be preparing. If you ain't, don't bother, retire right now. That's what you need to do. Yeah? And to be honest, you ain't preparing like this. You ain't got the hunger like that. Yeah? That's what you ain't got. But anyway, back to my dog, Mr. Anthony Yarde, who, yeah, done himself proud tonight. And I want to say this for the future, because I believe, now, I'm not sure about your cardio. That's something you do need to, that's something you need to bring the YB in to fix. But listen, the fact of the matter is, I believe there's no reason you can't go in there with all these. I think, to be honest with you, I think Yarde, with a full gas tank can chew through all these dudes. Yeah? And that's another thing. What have I been telling you, man, for the longest time? Get rid of this low hand goofiness. What happens? 2-2s. Yardie comes in there, guard nice and high, walk straight forward, Alvarez style. Yeah, simple as that. All this other funny style shit, he ain't doing nothing. Yeah? Floyd Mayweather was a scary ass, just running around. He wasn't doing nothing. He wasn't winning no. When was the last time Floyd Mayweather won a fight by a KO? Don't no one know. Yeah? All this shoulder roll rubbish, you don't need it when you got power. If you ain't got power, then you need it. If you have got power, hands up, elbows down, parrying and catching coming forward, and focus on you. Yeah? Winners focus on winning. Punchers focus on punching. Yeah? Losers focus on winners. No power having asses focus on people with power. That's how it works. If you've got power, you go straight forward. Let them worry about what you're throwing. Yeah? You got people like Mr. Anthony Johnson. You've got power, but you're the one flapping about a cruiserweight. It's unbelievable. But like I said, I give credit to Team Yarde and Anthony Yarde, because tonight they did exactly what the YB said to do. Focus. You've got the power here. Why are people with power spending all night not using it? At mid-range, playing into their opponent's hand. And I believe Anthony Yarde, as far as this 175 division goes, I don't see no one who really all that, to be honest with you. And I think if you go in there, Alvarez style, chin down, elbows in, and perfect the art of getting your shots off. And to be honest, there was a few criticisms technically tonight with Yarde. I think he spends too much energy twitching. Like when you watch Alvarez going forward, yeah, he ain't twitching. He's not wasting much. And you can tell that Anthony Yarde's extremely fast twitch. He's doing all his twitching, but I think that's half the reason he gasses out. When you see Alvarez, yes, he can feint. Yes, he can slip and slide defensively, but that twitching is wasting a lot of energy. And in fact, I started to get worried in some of the rounds of this fight, because it almost looked like Yarde was going to go back into that anticipation range. Yarde's a very particular type of fighter where I've noticed he does, especially, I mean, watch the first fight. Watch the Kovalev fight. He spends a lot of time, not up close, not long range, but he spends a lot of time twitching and anticipating, just doing loads of, and it doesn't add any value. But when you're moving that explosively, when you're feinting and twitching that explosively, it uses a lot of energy. And in the Kovalev fight, you notice that when he ran out of gas, all that twitchy stuff went, because it's high. It requires a high amount of energy to do. My point is, you don't need to be doing all that. And in fact, again, I'm glad that he kind of snapped out of it, because for it was a few times in this fight, he spent 10 seconds or 5 seconds just twitching, but not going. And I think even the commentator said that, yeah, Yarde doesn't want to be doing this. He doesn't want to get stuck in the anticipation mode. And I've rarely seen a fighter, it's actually quite unique to Yarde, I've rarely seen a fighter actually use or actually get stuck in what we're now calling the anticipation zone. The anticipation zone is a dead zone. Do not get caught in that. You want to be coming forward or going back, essentially. Sitting in the middle, when you're the type of fighter you are, waste of time. And that's what Alvarez does well. Yeah, I've seen Alvarez back up a few times. When he's backing up, he's going back. When he's coming forward, he's coming forward. He doesn't waste energy waiting, letting his opponent get off. And that's actually how you lost the first fight. And that's actually how the bits of good work Arthur had tonight. The few good bits Arthur did have was when you sat at mid-range and let him get a few jabs off. Elbows in, chin down, and if you're going to use the twitchy stuff, in my opinion, them feints and that twitching movement you do, which is quite unique, in my opinion, you should build that into actually coming forward. So, for example, you could do a twitch and then commit kind of thing. Twitch and commit. Which is actually more of a traditional feint, rather than you're twitching, you're feinting, and then you're just standing there. So it's just completely wasted. And yeah, I can understand you trying to probably get your opponent's timing off, or you're trying to basically distract your opponent, but like I said, in this game, you got hammers and you got nails. Yeah? All these dons to you should be nails. Yeah? And what do we do with nails? We hammer them. 100%. Yeah? And you ain't hammering no nail doing twitchy. And like I said, it wastes energy that potentially you may not have to waste. Especially when it gets to the later rounds. Thankfully tonight, and to be honest with you, and I'm not being funny, if you watch, there's been a few fights, I think, when Yarde was fighting bums, there's a few fights where Yarde was fighting bums and it was still taking him loads of rounds. Why? Because he didn't have the viciousness. He was going in there too calm, just going through the motions. Yeah? No good. Go in there with deadly intentions. That's my opinion. Deadly intentions and a full tank of cardio. Yeah? 100%. And none of these guys are going to be able to keep up with it, in my opinion. Or at least you're going to be your best self, in my opinion. Yeah? All the other stuff, all this other Mayweather fascination, useless. Throw it out. Get rid of it. No good. There's a few good things, like for example, if you're on the defensive and you can get in the shoulder roll and slip and slide, fair enough, but that's all it should be used for. Yeah? Mayweatherness should be used on the defensive. It shouldn't be built into an actual strategy. You shouldn't be thinking about, let's try and execute a Mayweather strategy. No good. Yeah? Mayweather had no power. Oops. Yeah? Mayweather wasn't aggressive at all. Mayweather didn't get no stoppages. So, unless you want to be the guy who never stopped no one, or unless you want to be the guy who goes 50-50 every time, then throw it out of the way. No good. Yeah? And you can see, look at the venom on Yarde's face. Pure venom. I snapshotted the left hook he got, which is ultimately the shot that finished it. Beautiful. Straight into the liver. I hate to think, and I have to give Lyndon Arthur credit, because I don't know how that didn't have him rolling on the floor. That was a mad shot, and it was clean as well. It wasn't on the elbow. I mean, I've felt body shots, obviously not from a professional with 8-ounce gloves or 10-ounce gloves on. I've had a body shot hit my arm, and you can feel it rattle in your liver. This was clean, so I do give him credit, although he didn't want no more. That's a fact. Yeah, Pat Barrett did all the talking. Pat Barrett took the roads. Oops. Yeah, there was no roads left for your man, Lyndon. But Lyndon is alright. He ain't tier 1. He's alright. For me, Lyndon, he's British class. He's British class. Yarde, I think he potentially, if he gets his cardio right. I'm not saying, to be fair, he didn't gas, but the fight wasn't that long. I'm just worrying that when you're that explosive, you need to be able to, what's the word I'm looking for? You need to be able to refine it and not waste it. But yeah, another good credit I've got to give to Yarde is his ability to mix it up. I mean, for years we've seen AJ, low IQ fighter, headhunting. Head. You never see AJ throw a body shot or a power shot to the body. Yeah, low IQ. Yarde, to his credit, he touched the body, he touched the head. In fact, he was actually touching the body more than the head. So that was great to see as well. A dissection, a true dissection. One thing I will say, one small criticism, I do think that Yarde, like when you see Alvarez goes too far the other way for me. When you watch Alvarez hunt someone down, he only puts one together. He'll put a huge, massive shot together. He'll hunt you down, he'll set himself, and he'll let off a massive left hook. I've been saying for years that Alvarez should focus on increasing that to 2s and 3s to get the stoppage. It's very hard to stop a man with one clean shot, because your opponent defensively more than likely is going to be able to see it coming. Now, Yarde and AJ, but for me, Yarde's almost in the middle between. AJ just goes the other way. AJ has no finesse. He'll just slap 10 shots, miss all of them, miss or hit the guard on all of them. Yeah, that's no good. But Yarde tonight, yeah, he got the stoppage, but I did notice there was a few when he was increasing the volume. And again, this is nitpicking, but I do think Yarde should kind of get in the habit of throwing 2s and 3s, maybe 4s, and then leave it at that, if that makes sense. Especially when you're going to increase the level of opponents. You don't want to be getting caught in these big rallies. Why? Well, what do we know? And I'm not saying Yarde and his team haven't improved, but as an example of why it's important to have that discipline and train the discipline to keep yourself in the habit of throwing 2s and 3s only, is because, like I said, what do we know? In the Kovalev fight, when he was told empty the tank, when you go wild here, when you throw 10 shots at once, or even 7, 8 shots at once, they're relatively low yield. Yeah? You're not picking them. You're just kind of hitting here, hitting there. And it's, like I said, it's low yield, but not only is it low yield, it's obviously high. It requires a high amount of cardio. Or sorry, it's using up a lot of your energy, and you're not getting much yield back from it. So you've got to get the balance right. Get in the habit of throwing 2 or 3s selected shots. And because even really, when you think about Mike Tyson, he would sometimes over-rev it, but when you see a lot of his KOs, it'd be 2 or 3 shots, wouldn't it? It'd be the uppercut to the body or something to the head. Yeah? Focus on them 2 and 3 combination punches. Because it's lower energy and it's higher finesse. It's more punch placement, which means you can get the best of both worlds. You want enough volume to stop the guy, but not too much volume that you're burning yourself out. And I think if you can hone in on focusing on 2 or 3 shots at a time, it also means that there is something you can repeat that throughout a fight. Throughout a 12-round fight, you should be able to consistently go in there round after round, putting 2 or 3 big shots together. Can you replicate 6, 7, 8 punch flurries? I don't believe so. And I just don't think it's worth the risk. What's the point? I mean, have you ever seen a fighter really be able to go into a fight and let off 6 punch combinations every round for 12 rounds? No. And like I said, especially when you're going and you're looking to the future and taking on some of these guys like Bivol and whatnot, it's not worth the risk. And also, we haven't even thought about counter punching in as much as from your opponent. When you're throwing 8 punch combinations, the risk is much higher that you're going to get someone's going to put one on you, if that makes sense. When you're being much more refined and putting 2 or 3s together, it's much easier to recoil your hands and get your defense on point and react. When you're just in that flurry mode, I mean, how many times have we seen a fighter, look at AJ for example, how many times have we seen AJ in the middle of a flurry get clipped? It's dopey low IQ boxing, but that's what his team is. His team's low IQ, yeah? He's a low IQ fighter. Don't be that guy. You have to, and that's what Alvarez does do well. Whilst his volume's too low for my liking, he keeps it like Alvarez is like a metronome. He'll go in there, let off one big shot, reset. You know what I'm saying? That is the consistency that breaks down fighters. Is the consistency. I mean, look at Alvarez's career. Alvarez's career over the last few years is probably one of the most consistent runs in history. That's not by chance. It's by his process. His process is extremely replicatable. The minute you're throwing 8 shots at once, it's not replicatable. It's not something you can standardise. That's just random. That's just kind of lucky. You're lucky if you get some shots through. You're lucky if you stop your opponent. And the flip side of that is, what happens when you've let off some big 8 punch flurries and your opponent's standing in front of you still and you're gassed? No good. Stick to the manageable 2-3 punches. But anyway, I've kind of cooked that one to death. But the only reason I say these things is because I'm passionate and I want to see Yarde fulfill himself. Yeah, and ultimately I want to make a whole bunch of coins betting on Yarde. Oops. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I'm really proud of Yarde tonight. He's proven something that many fighters from this era can't prove. Yeah, many fighters from this era, they ain't really won it like that. They don't. They're flappers. So I'm proud and I'm happy to see that Yarde could have easily gone in there tonight. How many times have we seen a fighter lose and go in there and try and do the same thing again? But the fact he was saying in the build-up, oh yeah, I know what I need to do. And we all know we all know what he needed to do. AKA replicate the 12th round. But doing it is a whole different ball game. And the fact he had the confidence and the willpower to execute that, I rate that. Because things that, I mean, like I said before, your man Anthony Johnson gassed all his fans up about Kronk. Yeah, I'm going to do the Kronk tonight. What did he do? There weren't no Kronk in his performance. And now he's out here on social media talking about throwback fighter. What's wrong with this guy? Funny style guy. Yeah, what you want to do, Mr. Johnson, is tune in to Anthony Yarde, and he'll show you how to get down. Yeah, that's what you need to be doing right now about throwback. You want to watch Yarde. And I'm sorry, in my opinion, I don't see no difference between Arthur Lyndon and Usyk, to be honest. Oops, now what? They're both food, in my mind. Yeah? No difference whatsoever. Because guess what? Them few rounds, yeah? In fact, it weren't even a few rounds. AJ, yeah, put out a few shots to Usyk's body. And I think it was the 6th or 7th round. Usyk didn't know what to do with himself. And that was 1 or 2 shots. And the rest of the fight, AJ was flapping. I'm telling you now, I've already seen it. I've watched Chisora come out of the gates hot, yeah? And Usyk looked bamboozled. He looked nervous in there. He did not look comfortable. And that's Chisora, who don't scare no one, really. Yeah? If AJ came out like Yarde, Usyk is going to be shook. Everyone looks good. Who don't look good against AJ who running around? Pulev looked decent. Pulev was coming forward against AJ the whole night. Watch the fight. Oops. Yeah, AJ was dancing around from Pulev the whole night. But anyway, Yarde, hats off to you. On to upwards and onwards, and I think you're going to become world champion. Another thing, I'm going to be betting on Yarde to beat Johnson. However, what I will say is, which has been something, which will have been a theme for this video, Yarde, do not fall back into that habit. Yeah? You're going to see, who's it, Callum Johnson versus someone? I don't know. The point is, and I'm not saying you have to be wild, but like I said, tight defense, coming forward. Simple as that. Don't fall back into, because look at your career. Like I said earlier, part of your career, even when you were fighting bums, you were taking 8-9 rounds to get the guys out of there. Explain why, or think to yourself why. Why was it taking 9 rounds to get bums out, or 7 rounds to get bums out of there, when you've just gotten Arthur Lyndon Arthur, who's much better than the bums you were fighting? You got him out of there in 2-3 rounds. Why is that? I tell you why, because you was in love with the Mayweather thing. Oh, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to rely on the jab, and I'm going to be on the outside, just moving my head and feinting and twitching, and that's why all your fights taking 7, 8, 9 rounds. Don't fall back into that habit, and it's easy to do when you're fighting big fights. It's easy to say, oh, this guy's a top name, let me just go in there and relax into it. That's what most average people think. Yeah? Watch AJ versus Klitschko. He went in there the first 4 rounds. Oh, well, it's a big fighter. No. You go in there and be that guy. Bet on yourself. Everyone from now on, this is how you should approach the fight. Bet on yourself. And you saw how it paid off. Because guess what? You've got perfect data now. You saw what happened when you went in there with Lyndon Arthur and you tried to play that other game. You let him into the fight. You give him confidence. Fighting, as we know, is a very psychological game. And it's the same thing. When you go in there and you give a man respect, and you're playing jab, 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 and you're playing tickle, 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 then everyone can look good. When you go in there on your job, like you did tonight, very quickly, Lyndon found out, damn, this ain't like the last one. And the worst thing, or the great thing is, you can actually build a reputation. Look at Mike Tyson. If you go in there and you keep being ferocious quick, before you know it, your fights end up even easier for you. Because people are shook before they get in the ring. So it's a win-win all round. Now the risk is, I guess, is that, oh, well, YB, what happens if I go in there and the guy is harder than me? Well, you may end up losing, but you would have lost anyway. So, do you know what I'm saying? If you go in there and you're totally ferocious and you end up losing, all you can do is nod your head and say, you know what, fair play, boss. Because guess what? You weren't going to win fannying around anyway. And I guarantee you, tonight in 3 rounds, you took less damage than you did all night in them 12 rounds last time. And this is what I've been telling people. People think that, oh, but YB, you know, people have to adapt because otherwise you get hurt and you get knocked down. Oh, oops. By fanning around, number one, you spend more time in a ring, which naturally gives you more damage because you're in there for 12 rounds. But number two, that whole cautious rubbish, you end up taking more damage anyway. You may as well have gone in there and been totally ferocious. Look at Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson got his eye bust for the first time against a cruiserweight and was on the ropes. He got knocked out. I guarantee you, if he'd have gone in there on his job, he wouldn't have taken that much damage. I mean, look at Chisora. Chisora even said it. He didn't even hit me once tonight. He didn't hurt me once tonight. The guy can't punch. He's too light in the back. That's what Chisora said. And Chisora was paid off to lose anyway. Yeah? That shows you that this whole fannying business, it don't pay off. No way. But anyway, congratulations. Celebrate your lot. Celebrate your dub. And Yamando IB will be back to cash some more coins in against Johnson. Yeah? Because I believe you can stop Johnson. Because guess what? If Beterbiev can stop Johnson, you can. I don't even rate Beterbiev, truth be known. Yeah, he's solid for a European fighter, but listen, there's levels to this game. And if Beterbiev hasn't got the hooks and uppercuts, yeah? So you go in there, your elbow's nice and tight, and you're coming forward. You're feinting and you're stepping, you're committing. Simple as that. And you're touching Beterbiev all over. I mean, Callum Johnson put him down. Oops. Yeah? These guys need to be worked all over. 100%. No doubt.